I'm going to assume if you're watching this video that you're looking to have a physique transformation and you're not exactly sure where to begin. And you know the title of this video, you clicked on it for a reason, so I'm just going to get straight into it. I'm going to say, for nearly everyone watching, the answer is that you should cut. And I will explain why. There are only a few circumstances where bulking is actually a good idea. And it took me a long time to figure this out, but fortunately, I didn't really bulk for nearly the entirety of my fitness journey just because I was afraid of getting fat. Not necessarily a bad thing. So, the reason that most people should cut and not bulk is because nearly everyone is either fat and they know it or fatter than they think. So, if you do not have clearly visible and very sharp abs, you shouldn't be bulking. If you are a beginner and you haven't been lifting for very long, you should probably not be cutting either unless you're overweight or obese. So, first category of person, overweight or obese. You should never increase your food to improve your physique if you're in that position. The answer is always in that condition that you need to bring down calories, bring up activity, and continue lifting. That will yield the best results because you basically have a surplus of calories stored on your body. Your body will use the fat that you have stored as calories. You're bulking and building muscle just because you are fat. So, decrease the intake of calories, your body will use what you have stored, and you'll be able to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. Now, next category, skinny fat. This is one that I see really commonly and also where I began. The answer isn't to bulk because if you're in a calorie surplus, unless you are an absolute beginner, you are most likely going to gain fat. So you will build muscle, but you will also gain fat, which I'm guessing is probably not your goal. The answer here is also to cut. You should be cutting very, very slowly if you're skinny fat because you don't have much muscle and you want to be able to build muscle at the same time. So you want to be in a very small calorie deficit, but you certainly don't want to be in a surplus. So, who should actually be bulking? The only people who need to bulk are experienced lifters who have just come off of a diet, someone who is starting as very skinny and naturally lean, or someone who has been dieting on and off for a long time and has a lot of diet fatigue, high appetite, low gym performance. Those are signs that you need to increase calories. For example, me, I just finished a diet. I'll throw up a picture or a video right now to show you the position in which I ended my diet. I'm pretty lean right now. I could afford to throw in some extra calories, and I'm more experienced than most people watching this video, so building muscle in a deficit or at maintenance is going to be harder for me than it will for other people. I need a small caloric surplus to maximize my muscle building. However, the size of that surplus is going to be so minimal that most people wouldn't even notice that I'm gaining weight. My plan is to gain around 30 pounds in the next year and a half. That's roughly 2 pounds a month, but it's slightly less than that. So I'm not really bulking by most people's definition. It's somewhere between main gaining and bulking. So let's say the leanest you can get a lean bulk, because I know if I'm gaining weight any quicker than that, I'm gaining more fat than I need to, and I'm not going to get any benefit from that. Really, the purpose of bulking is to build muscle. You're not just trying to gain weight. That is, unless you're underweight, severely under fat, which would mean someone who is far too lean for optimal muscle building and energy levels. The purpose of bulking is just to put on muscle, not to put on weight, and that's what I'm trying to do. I would recommend to a lot of people, specifically beginners, to take a main gaining approach where you don't focus as much on calories unless you're gaining or losing weight quickly, and instead prioritize eating a very high protein, nutrient dense diet and just train hard. You will experience body recomposition. You're going to lose fat and build muscle at the same time. You're getting the best of both worlds. However, I'm not in the best position to do that. The most optimal position to start a main gaining phase is the end of an extended bulking period or your newbie gains, being a beginner. For me, I'm not a beginner. I'm not an absolute beginner. I'm in between the beginner and intermediate stages, but I'm not at the body fat level that would mean I'm going to build muscle optimally. I'm a little bit leaner than that right now. So I'm going to very slowly add in more food, more body fat, and build muscle. By the end of my bulk, by no means am I going to still be this lean, no matter what I do, because increasing calories, eating more calories than I'm burning, means I will gain some body fat. This is not true in all cases. For absolute beginners or people taking steroids, it is absolutely possible to lose fat in a calorie surplus, because caloric surplus or caloric deficit does not entail fat gain or fat loss necessarily. It only means fluctuation in body weight, not composition. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to be predictive of body composition changes. It will be predictive of those changes. If you're in a surplus, you are most likely going to gain fat. If you're in a deficit, you're most likely not going to gain muscle, and you're most likely going to lose fat. That's just the most predictable outcome, but it's not the necessary outcome. For someone in my position, it nearly definitely is going to be the outcome. So I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here, just making you clear of some nuances. So to recap, if you have any amount of excess body fat, you should not be bulking. If you have too little body fat, that's when you should be bulking. Or if you're trying to optimize muscle building. That's all. It's that simple. If you have too much fat, you need to cut. If you don't have enough, you need to bulk. Okay, I hope that helped. I'll catch you guys again soon.